Have you ever known people who are ungrateful? A couple? Aren't they annoying? It's like you do these wonderful things for them, and there's a really key word that they need to recite, and that key word is thank you. It's something you really need to teach children. Now, if you never say thank you, the people who have been kind and gracious to you, what does their attitude toward you become? So, for example, let's say that every day you give someone a wonderful cookie. Lorraine, what's your favorite cookie to eat in the entire world?
Sour cream.
Okay, sour cream. With, a lot of good frosting. Okay, yeah, those are great. I see the sugar cookies. I was at Sam's the other day, and they had like these big rolls of sugar cookies. I'm thinking, gross. Pre-made sugar cookies? No, you got to make those things from scratch because that's when they're better. And that's when you have one, you say, thank you. Now, if someone never says thank you, you lose the motivation to give them anything ever again. The whole thing of ungratefulness is really nasty. Now, the slide says it's a slippery slope because when you are ungrateful, some difficult things occur. Go to Romans chapter 1. We're going to spend some time in Romans chapter 1, also in Psalm 100 this morning. The wrath of God is being revealed from heaven, which is the source. It doesn't mean there's fireballs raining down right now. The wrath of heaven is being revealed. The wrath of God is being revealed from heaven against all the godlessness and wickedness of men who suppress the truth by their wickedness. Since what may be known about God is plain to them because God has made it plain to them. For since the creation of the world, God's invisible qualities, his eternal power and divine nature have been clearly seen, being understood from what has been made, so that men are without excuse. For although they knew God, they neither glorified him as God nor gave thanks to him. But their thinking became futile and their foolish hearts were darkened. So when you stop giving thanks, there is this great relational effect that goes on that is negative. So as people began to say, oh yeah, God, oh yeah, who is he? They ignored the obvious. For example, did you know that you need ozone? Without ozone, what happens to us? We die. Yeah, the sun kills you without ozone. And God has created oxygen, so it likes to be in the O2 form, but the O3 form somehow filters out the ultraviolet rays that are coming to kill us. So it's good. Nitrogen. Anybody know offhand how much nitrogen is in the atmosphere? 78%. If the atmosphere were pure oxygen and not modified by nitrogen, Scott, what happens? Boom. Yeah, turn on the light switch. Yeah, terrible. So, God designed nitrogen, homeostasis. Now, have you ever considered all the wild things that occur in your body for you to exist in a decent state? All these microscopic functions that go on. You can look at the molecules, you can look at the protein molecules, and then you can look at the rough endoplasmic reticulum, which is involved in folding the amino acid chains into useful It's amazing stuff. You can see some videos on how there's like this string of amino acids, and it goes from point A to point B, and then there's this like big globule thing, and then there's this little structure that walks it down. This is all microscopic. We are fearfully and wonderfully made. It's incredible. But it's so easy for us to forget and to take all these things for granted. There's a term called jaded. And jaded is when you just, remember like Thanksgiving, you eat like a ton of turkey, eat sweet potatoes, and you're just kind of sitting back going, oh. And you fall asleep during the Lions game, one of the worst things you could do. Okay, and do y'all watch the Lions on Thanksgiving? Okay. Oh, wow. Okay, Lorraine, thank you. Okay, I'll be hopefully watching Lions on Thanksgiving. Anyway, but this thing of being jaded is you've had so much, you just sit back and, Now, you can also get jaded by being deprived of things for so long. You just kind of become non-reactive, and we can get jaded. Ice density. God designed water molecules. It's so cool. What if ice, when ice forms, the water molecules get farther away from each other, so that's why ice is on top. If ice went to the bottom, all the ponds would be frozen solid, all the fish would die. Because ice floats, because it increases it decreases in density as it gets cold, it goes to the top, so you can have ice. You can go ice fishing. Without that characteristic of water, you couldn't ice fish. Life would have a really hard time. Now, when you're not thankful, you begin to have a lack of interest in the giver. You take them for granted. God doesn't really matter anymore when we fail to give thanks to him. Again, going back to verse 21. They neither glorified him as God nor gave thanks to him, and their thinking became futile, which means that their brains don't work right. Their thought processes don't work right. I love to talk to people who object to the concept of God at all, and you try to reason with them, and they really can't reason. They come up with all kinds of lame excuses. Now, if you're not thankful, then you kind of avoid accountability to that person. Okay, let's say, for example, Lorraine, I'm going to pick on you again. Let's say that Lorraine made me the world's greatest sugar cookies with the sour cream frosting, and they were just the best things. And she gave them to me, and I just kind of said, well, you know what? I think the Blue Jays would really like to eat these. So I throw some outside, or the sparrows, or, I'm accountable. And then Lorraine says, hey, how'd you like those cookies? What do I tell her? Because she'd be insulted if she knew I just threw them to the birds. Okay, so I'm accountable. Because Lorraine would have been good to me, I'm accountable to her for the good things that she gave to me. Does that make sense? Okay, accountable. So now, I love this where it says, their thinking became futile and their foolish hearts were darkened. Although they claimed to be wise, they became fools. Now, when you see the word fool, it's not just that they're dumb, there is a moral implication. So they're fools, they have become rotten to the core. Not that they're not thinking straight alone, but they become rotten on the inside. They exchanged the glory of the immortal God for images made to look like mortal men and birds and reptiles and animals. I can't fathom that the Egyptians would worship frogs. That makes no sense to me. Or that you would worship a bird. I mean, an eagle. Why would you worship an eagle? Eagles are scavengers. I mean, they look really cool flying around. They're kind of scary. If you've got your small dog out there and you want to protect your dog from the eagle. But why would people do that? Once you deny God and who he is, you got to have something for backup. Because something had to have made all this. Someone has to be responsible. The mental disconnect, then, must be reinforced with further faulty logic, contrived evidence, and lies. Okay. Once we reject God, go back to nation of Israel, Mount Sinai. Moses is on the mountain for a long time. And what do the people do? They say, Aaron, we don't know about this Moses guy, so can you make us a couple of gods that we can worship? So Aaron does this. You get the golden calf thing. They have to replace God with something, and anything you replace God with is woefully inadequate. So people would tell stories, they'll tell lies about God, they'll tell lies about anything to reinforce the fact that there is no God and we do not need to be grateful to him. Brief tangent, but this is obviously planned because it's on the screen. Anyone I've ever shown this diagram to, I say, what does this show? And it shows, well, what do you think? What does it seem to show? Evolution, yeah, okay. And actually, if there's a book, this came out of a book called The Ascent of Man. This is a lie. Okay? Everything on here is a lie and a deception. You see the first little guy who kind of looks like a gibbon? Okay, there's a subscript below this that says, this is Pliopithecus, ancestor of the gibbons, although its arms were not as disproportionately long for swinging through trees. So what it says is, this is a gibbon. If it's a gibbon, why is it on something that makes it look like it's ancestral to humanity? The next one is Dryopithecus. Dryopithecus, first of the great fossil apes to be discovered. If it evolved into apes, it did not evolve into people. Now, it didn't evolve into apes either, but okay. But so it shouldn't be here. As you go through this, there's even, remember Lucy? Okay, that's like, oh, Lucy, the missing link. Now, Lucy was, they figured that went extinct. But you can look in textbooks today, and they'll talk about Lucy. I watched a dumb movie the other day, and it had this like scientist guy speaking, and they had this graphic in the background because it implies that we don't have a creator, that we have evolved, and if there is no creator, then we have no one to be grateful to. We're on our own, take the cookies and run. Okay. The only things on here that might be ancestral to man, they're all within what we'd call the genus of Homo sapiens. You can see people like that every day. Now, they make them look a little bit more ape-like, with the hair and stuff like this. It's funny, the last guy they have, that's supposed to be modern man. Everybody else has got like facial hair, but they gave him a shave. I don't know why. This is a lie. It's a deception. The world will deceive us so that we do not turn to God, so that we are not grateful to him. In such a system, the philosophical implications are horrifying. If you are just a highly evolved animal, if that is all we are, you can do whatever you please. But if we have a God to whom we give thanks, we are accountable to him. So how much more important is it that we say, God, I thank you so much for your grace, Lord, your goodness. Lord, I thank you so much that you would save a wretch like me. Notice I didn't say save a wretch like you. Okay, I'm going to keep that personal to me. Once you give credit elsewhere or nowhere, things just kind of fall apart. Remember Genesis chapter 11, the people there, they all gather on the plain and they say, hey, we're going to make a big city for ourselves. We're going to make a name for ourselves because we're great and we're awesome. Not giving credit to God. Jeremiah chapter 2. Sometime today, read the whole chapter. People are not giving credit to God. They're not thankful to him. Therefore, they do not return to him for his gifts. There's a great poem, Invictus. Now, I say it's great because it's horrible. And you probably have heard this before. I might have even gone over this last year. Out of the night that covers me, black as pit from pole to pole, I thank whatever gods may be for my unconquerable soul. Now notice he's really thanking nothing. Okay, I love it when people say, oh, it's Thanksgiving, it's a time to give thanks. To who? Or is that to whom? Any English experts? Oh, good, either way works for me then. Okay, you have to have an antecedent to give thanks to. Okay, so when he says, I thank whatever gods may be, he doesn't believe in any. So he's kind of like thanking the atmosphere. For my unconquerable soul, in the fell clutch of circumstance, I have not winced nor cried aloud under the bludgeoning of chance. My head is bloody but unbowed. Beyond this place of wrath and tears looms the horror of the shade, and yet the menace of the years finds and shall find me unafraid, because I'm awesome. I added those words in case you didn't. It matters not how strait the gate, how charged with punishments the scroll. I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul. Who is he giving thanks to? Himself. Okay, that's just really dumb. Okay, it's really dumb. But this is the way the world points us. If there is no God, this is where we are. So credit goes someplace else, or in this case of Invictus, nowhere. You end up with great social and moral decay as we jump to verse 24. Because the people were ungrateful to God, because their thinking became futile and their foolish hearts were darkened, God gave them over in the sinful desires of their hearts to all kinds of nasty stuff. Verse 25, they exchanged the truth of God for a lie, and they worshiped and served created. Why would you serve a created thing? I don't owe a salamander anything. The salamander has done nothing for me. If I have a parakeet, the parakeet's cute, kind of warm and fuzzy. It's kind of nice if they sit on your shoulder and they snuggle up. But the parakeet doesn't do anything for you. The parakeet is not grateful to you. Now, dogs are different. Dogs tend to show gratitude. It's really cool. Cats, do they show gratitude? I don't know. We've had cats. The only gratitude they have is feed me. Have you ever seen the Simon the Cat cartoons? Oh, if you ever get to see Simon the Cat, those are so funny. But the whole thing is feed me. You end up with social and moral decay. There's no base, no anchor. And you can go further in this text. It's just really bad and gross. All this stuff goes on. It starts off when people don't give thanks to God, then society does not do well. Thankfulness ends in emptiness, and it ends in moral chaos. If you give thanks to no one, you are indeed alone. But we give thanks to our Lord and King because his love endures forever. Psalm 100. Read this with me. Don't stand up. Just read this with me. Shout for... Oh, no. Stop. What's the first word? Thank you, Scott. Okay. Or just don't deafen Anna, though. Okay. Because, okay. All right. So you cannot read this in a flat way. Can you imagine? Shout to the Lord, all the earth. Okay, ready? Shout for joy to the Lord, all the earth. Worship the Lord with gladness. Come before him with joyful songs. Know that the Lord is God. It is he who made us, and we are his. We are his people, the sheep of his pasture. Enter his gates with thanksgiving and his courts with praise. Give thanks to him and praise his name. For the Lord is good and his love endures forever. His faithfulness continues through all generations. Shout. Oh, Good. Thank you. But I just want to go over the word shout. Okay, in the Hebrew, it's literally to mar. How many of you have been to, well, probably no one has, but me. You've been to like one of those concerts with really big amplifiers and speakers, and it's really loud. Okay, Scott, you've done a few of those, okay? I work security and stuff at like Skillet concerts. They're so loud. And I'm standing like right in front of the speakers. I have ear protection on, so it's okay. But the idea literally to mar, to split the ears with sound in the context of joy or alarm. So to simply say, shout to the Lord. No, scream it out, Scott. Again, don't. Okay, all right. But you get the idea. Okay, to really be loud about this, it is okay to praise the Lord with volume. Yeah. How many of you get excited? I mean, look at all the joy there. The Lions did something good. Who's number 26? Is this an old picture? Okay, not good. My son Joshua hates football, so he would. But okay, notice the joy they've got. Okay, and if you go to a stadium like that, there's so much noise going on. People are cheering. When there's a football game at CMU, we can hear people cheering. We hear the cannon really well too, when that thing goes off, and that is an ear-splitting sound if you're close to it. Now, we do not do this very often. I don't think it should be normative because then you can't talk anymore. But it's okay to get excited and to be boisterous about the Lord. Worship, literally the term here in the Hebrew, means to serve. This is a way of life. Romans chapter 12, okay, verses 1 and 2. I urge you therefore, brothers, by the mercies of God, that you present your bodies a living sacrifice, holy and pleased to God, which is your spiritual act of worship. It is our liturgy. So our way of life is a thing of worship to God. So when we say, hey, I'm going to worship the Lord, please do not think that, I'm going to go to church, on Sunday, and we're just going to have a little time of worship. No, our lives are an act of worship to God. They should be. Gladness, rejoicing. Okay, here we go. I've got the board out front, and I thought it would be great to fill that puppy up. Well, when I came in, there were two things written on there. And that board should be filled up. What are reasons that we have to give praise to God, to give thanks to God? Now, I started off writing about, the intricacies of all the little tiny things that go on in the human body and how fearfully and wonderfully made. I didn't write all that, but, And then somebody else. I put 4 pens out there. 2 black ones in case you run out of black ink. But you can, use the green and the red. Fill that thing up on your way out. What is there that we don't have to rejoice about? Now, some of us have got aches and pains. I know that. Have you ever been thankful for your aches and pains? If you were not thankful for your aches and pains, you would die. you would not know that something was injured. Okay? And you would push yourself beyond limits and you would just plain die. So if something hurts, say, well, that really hurts, that's bad. No, it's good that it hurts. Thank God for that. Now, you can also say, God, it hurts a lot. Can you please, ease this off? That's fine. But the fact that you hurt is a blessing from God. Okay, don't think that it's not. So, I'm not going to take time for suggestions this morning. Well, I got so many more slides to come. Joyful songs, sounds of triumph. Yes! Imagine again, somebody scores a touchdown. The Lambeau Leap, I always love that. Someday, if I ever get a chance to go to a game up in Lambeau, that would be the place to go. And they get so excited and joyful, joyful sounds. That's the idea here. So rather than going, I'm going to praise God. I'm going to praise God because this is so joyful, the stuff that God has done for me. Now, sometimes, am I feeling that way? Not always. And sometimes when I'm really feeling discouraged, you know what brings me out? Shout for joy to the Lord. I go through these things and let the God-given endorphins get into your system as you intentionally say, I don't care how I feel, I'm going to thank God. Because I have a vehicle with 4 tires on it that aren't going to explode. They're not all bald like they get in the South because they don't have snow or ice down there. Are you thankful for ice? You better be. Without ice, again, the planet would be in deep, deep trouble. So it's okay to be excited. Please don't be like this in church ever. The subscript for this talked about the sermon wasn't very good. But even at that, though, if the sermon isn't good, hey, somebody's out there proclaiming the Word of God, man. Lean forward, get a pencil out, make marks in your Bible. So don't do this. Be excited. Now, know that the Lord is God. It is He who made us. We are His people, the sheep of His pasture. We got to have our theology straight if we're going to be thankful. Because we have a great, infinite, eternal, almighty, powerful God. Think of all the adjectives you could toss in there. Have your theology straight. This is who God is. We're not thanking our good cosmic buddy in the sky. We're thanking the Creator of heaven and earth who has the power and the ability to cast the sinner into the lake of fire. But by His grace and His mercy, we're thankful because He's given us His Son. In Jewish theology, God is described by what He does and who else has followed Him. Recall Rahab. Oh, we know your God's the real one because He did. We heard about all the stories. So they knew about God by His acts. So we have Rahab's testimony. Also about people that followed Him. So, I am the God of Abraham and Isaac of Jacob. So we might say, I followed the God of my forefathers. We've got this great tradition. I can count my faith in my family back at least 6 generations. Then I'm not able to keep touch with them, but I know the Olsons up in Escanaba, they knew Jesus. Okay, and I can do this. I give thanks for this. And so it's an historical thing. So I can say, God, I thank you that my grandfather got off the boat and came to know Christ. And I believe it was, from what I can figure out, Gardner, Massachusetts. And some people took him aside and they taught him about the Lord. Became a pastor. And so I'm thankful. So my God is the God of my forefathers. The God of my father, the God of my mother, the God of my brother, the God of my sister, the God of my children. So I can get excited about this. Our God is a God who brought us out of Egypt. How many times did the Jews need to be reminded of this? Who is God? He's the God who brought us out of Egypt. Oh yeah, and the plagues, the frog one was hysterical. What God is there in heaven or on earth who can do the deeds and the mighty works that you do, God? This is who our God is. Psalm 136. Yeah, we're going to go in the overtime today. I haven't really done that in a while, so. But it won't be too much overtime, just so you know. You have a line in this, and your line is simply, His love endures forever. Okay, practice it.
His love endures forever.
Okay, well that was good. Give thanks to the Lord, for He is good.
His love endures forever.
Give thanks to the God of gods.
His love endures forever.
Getting better. To Him who alone does great wonders.
His love endures forever.
who by his understanding made the heavens, who spread out the earth upon the waters. And this goes on for a long time, but you get the idea. Okay? This is what God does because his love endures forever. If you were to define God in terms of what he has done in your life, how would you define him? Okay, food for thought. But, I could go on and on. Man, my God is a God who gave us 4 children. My God is a God who led us here, there, and all over the place. Our God is the God who did this. And his faithfulness, his love endures forever. You can do that. Sometime today, in the car by yourself, maybe as a couple, just start going over all the wonderful things that God has done for you. Recite one and then say his love endures forever. And if you do this all afternoon, you'll probably take a nap because it'll get exhausting. You also need to have your anthropology straight. Okay, it is he who made us. We are his, therefore we give thanks. We are created to be like him on the earth. That gives us accountability. We're not measuring up. Give thanks to him for his wonderful, glorious patience with us. As a sheep belongs to the shepherd, so we belong to God. Can you imagine the sheep getting together and saying to the shepherd, hey, buddy, I think we own you? It doesn't work that way. Okay, we belong to the shepherd. We are to serve him, not vice versa. Now, I'm so thankful that God has served us in the person and work of Christ. I'm so thankful for the blessings that God continues to give to us on a daily basis. But we are to serve him. God is not our guy in the sky. We are to be set apart to exemplify his love and his mercy. We need to walk in tight relationship with him. What happens when the sheep wander away from the shepherd? Lions and tigers and bears. Oh my. Okay. So you got to stay in tight proximity to the shepherd. Again, Psalm 23 and John 10 discuss this whole shepherding idea. For the Lord is good. Can you imagine if God weren't good? Where would you hide from a God who wasn't good? Enter his gates with thanksgiving, his courts with praise. Give thanks to him and praise his name. This speaks of the extension of hand singing and kneeling. Did you know that even in a Baptist church, it is okay to lift your hands in praise? Now, the way to work up to this is just start low, okay? And eventually, if your hands work their way up, that's okay. Some people, they just get crazy with stuff, and that becomes a distraction. It's not really worshipful. It focuses attention on the person, like for somebody running around waving their arms like crazy. Okay, keep it focused on the Lord and who he is. Our body, tapping your foot is great. Our bodies are to be involved in praise and worship at God's place. Now, again, holy rolling, a little over the edge. He'll probably call a doctor for you if you're doing the rolling thing on the floor. The Lord is good. His love endures forever. His faithfulness continues through all generations. Love here includes the idea of faithfulness. It's not that God says, oh, I love you today, but not tomorrow. The father with the lost son. Okay, did not the father's love for his son endure forever? Okay, and that's the kind of love that God has for us. Forever is the idea of a vanishing point. Okay, Jeannie, you do this in your art. You got the vanishing point thing. As far as you can see and go, it's there. And then if you go a little farther, as far as you can see and go, it's there. Because it's always there. Because his love endures forever. Think in terms of time, immensity, durability. Can you wear out the love of God? And the answer is no. Israel tried. I've tried. You've probably tried yourself. Can you wear it out? All kinds of biblical examples. David in Psalm 51. Did he wear out the love of God? No. Look at any saint's history. Could they wear out the love of God? So, being thankful. We must be thankful to God. We have had people say that you need to have discussions around the Thanksgiving table that are political in nature. Don't you dare. That is not the purpose of Thanksgiving. We have Lincoln's Thanksgiving proclamation, published. Read that. It is so cool. I had 2 sermons prepared today, so this is the one that you get. The other one was based upon the Thanksgiving proclamation. We must acknowledge God's place in our lives and in the universe. This keeps our minds right. so we don't get arrogant, so we don't get foolish, so that we don't get dumb. Thankfulness acknowledges my place in God's universe because I acknowledge my accountability to him. Without God, where would I be? Oh, I'd be dead multiple times. Being thankful anticipates future provision and relationship. Now, let's say that Lorraine made me those cookies. And I go, oh, and every time I see Lorraine, oh, Lorraine, man, I thank you for those cookies. Those were some of the best cookies I ever had. Those were great, Lorraine. Those were great cookies. What am I really doing? Who said annoying? Okay, Anna gets 10 demerits. No cookies for you. No, okay. Part of my reason as well to be thankful is maybe she'll make me more cookies in the future because I love these so much and I told her and I told everybody else about it. Maybe we need to thank God to anticipate his future goodness to us. And if we don't thank God, I mean, literally, we get self-consumed and we completely lose track of where we should be. Now, the greatest thing that we should be thankful for, isn't it? I love that picture. Look at the little girl down in the corner, man. She's up to something. You see that little face down there on the left-hand side? She's up to something. But God is up to something. He's always working in the background. He's always got something going on that's great and that's good for us. And the thing that we need to remember to be the most thankful for is the cross of Jesus Christ. Because on that hill far away, our price was paid.